Hey everyone, welcome back to all my listeners. This is the 169th episode of my 10th season. Today is Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023. My name is Sonal Patel, and this is the Paint the Medical Picture podcast series. Now, all right, you guys, I just wanted to give all of my thanks and my shout outs to all of my supporters worldwide. I have listeners in 67 countries, and I am simply honored that so many of you tune in from Wednesday to Wednesday over these past 3 years supporting me. So I am just so humbled to know that all of you are out there tuning in, and I love it. So I hope you keep it up. I'm, again, just honored, and I love continuing to make the top charts from week to week as well. So thanks so much, you guys. I really am thrilled for all of the support. Now, I hope you guys are doing well, because out here in America, it is the day before Thanksgiving. And it's a day for resting and cooking and eating and watching lots of American football on TV later in the afternoon. So I hope all of you are winding down your work projects. I know I am today, and getting ready to start cooking the feast, right? Because friends and family are going to come over, and you get to go shopping on Black Friday, right? The next day, the day after Thanksgiving. So there's lots to look forward to. There's lots of things to be grateful for. So I hope all of you are doing well and getting excited to wind down, shut down your offices, and start celebrating and finding some gratitude, right? Now, anyways, I wanted to point out in today's episode, right, we're always having news. It's still the fall season here, and there's some very newsworthy news, in my opinion, regarding new codes for oncology navigation services. So I want to hit some of those highlights for all of you. And then, of course, I wanted to talk about the new, again, more new things in the autumn, right? I wanted to talk about the new Appendix S in our 2024 CPT Coding Manual. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and close out today's episode and round it out with a remarkable quote on perseverance by Scott Hamilton. Today's episode is sponsored by Utilization Management University. All right, you guys, let's get started. Whether you are involved in the business of healthcare or any other business, what do you, your teams, and your management concentrate on the most? Typically, they communicate, problem solve, and make strategic decisions that drive the success of the organization. But how much time is actually spent in making tomorrow better than today? Are they striving for operational excellence? Prevention versus correction is a concept that's been known for years. So why do so many companies not implement the process? Utilization Management University provides a course that proves to be a unique solution to instill change in the mindset of business teams. This course provides the theory and the practical approach. This course will demonstrate how to implement a simple methodology as a solution. This course provides a detailed explanation of each and every step involved in prioritizing your problems and finding the root cause. This course shows how to engage team buy-in. This course readily provides available support for any issues. And the course provides the theory and helps you adapt it to your own individual circumstances. Check out the details at www.utilizationmanagementuniversity.com today and get registered. Utilization Management University, making tomorrow better. So let's get into Newsworthy. Our CPT Assistant just released a special edition for appropriately reporting CPT and new HCPCS codes for oncology navigation services. Now, our First Lady of the United States, Jill Biden, made a special appearance at the American Medical Association, that's our AMA, at their 2024 CPT and RBRVS Symposium. Here, she discussed the impact that these oncology navigation services will have on the Medicare population. These navigation services are critical components of the White House's Cancer Moonshot program. Per the Oncology Navigation Standards of Professional Practice, there are two types of oncology navigation services. The first one is called Clinical Navigation Services, and these types of services focus on clinical care, clinical coordination, and clinical education. Now, these clinical navigation services are typically provided by licensed clinical staff, such as registered nurses or licensed clinical social workers. And then finally, second is something called the patient navigation services. Now, these are focused on improving access to care related to social determinants of health. Typically, these services are provided by a variety of individuals, including community health workers. But be mindful, our CPT Assistant Special Edition did disclose that in some care settings, certain qualified healthcare professionals or nurse practitioners may in fact provide these types of oncology navigator services. Now, reporting clinical navigation services appropriately. How do we do that? So our CPT Assistant dives deeper. So there's something known as Principal Care Management Services. Those are PCM service codes, and those are outlined in the CPT Evaluation and Management section of our CPT Codebook. And they're reportable for clinical navigation services, including oncology navigation services. Now, these are specific to CPT codes 99424 through 99427, which were established back in 2022, and they represent services that focus on the medical and or psychological needs manifested by a single complex condition expected to last at least 3 months and includes establishing, implementing, revising, or monitoring a care plan specific to that single disease, and are not limited to use with oncology patients. PCM services are provided under the direction of a physician or other QHP, or may be provided personally by a physician or other QHP to a patient residing at a home or in a domiciliary, a rest home, or an assisted living facility. The physician or other QHP provides or oversees the management and or coordination of care management services, which include establishing, implementing, revising, or monitoring the care plan, coordinating the care of other professionals and agencies, and educating the patient or caregiver about the patient's condition, care plan, and prognosis. These services help improve coordination of care, reduce avoidable hospital services, decrease overutilization of services, improve patient engagement, and decrease care fragmentation due to decentralized patient throughput. Now, CPT codes 99424 and 99425 may be reported when a physician or other QHP personally provides the service, while CPT codes 99426 and 99427 may be reported when services are provided by clinical staff under the direction of a physician or other QHP. Now, the CPT Assistant also goes over how to report appropriately for patient navigation services. Now, let's not forget, I just disclosed on last week's episode about the fact that the Medicare physician fee schedule for calendar year 2024 was just released on November 2nd, right? So on November 2nd, 2023, CMS's Medicare Physician Payment Schedule Final Rule for 2024 introduced 4 brand new HCPCS codes. Those are our Healthcare Common Procedure Coding System codes. And those are for G codes G0023, G0024, G0140, and G0146. Now, HCPCS codes G0023 and G0024 were created for Principal Illness Navigation, or PIN, services provided by certified or trained auxiliary personnel under the direction of a physician or other QHP. Now, these personnel may include a patient navigator or certified peer specialist. It's important to note the differences in the required time for reporting G codes compared to CPT's PCM codes for CPT codes 99425 through 99427. So, for example, CPT code 99426 is reported for the first 30 minutes of clinical staff time, while the new HCPCS code G0023 is for the first 60 minutes of time. And then our HCPCS codes G0140 and G0146 were created specifically to describe PIN services provided by peer support specialists around behavioral health conditions. Now, PIN services are designed to help patients identify and connect with appropriate clinical and support resources. Be mindful, these changes will be effective January 1st, 2024. And now it's time for my best practice tips in Trusty Tip. So in today's compliance tip, let's go over all the buzz in Appendix S in our new 2024 CPT Coding Manuals that are effective January 1st, 2024. Now, although Appendix S was adopted in 2021, let's go ahead and take a look at just how far the AMA and CPT have come in just these 3 years. Now, Appendix S is for Artificial Intelligence Taxonomy for Medical Services and Procedures. So this is all about AI. Appendix S is all about AI. So this taxonomy provides guidance for classifying various artificial intelligence or AI applications in expert systems, in machine learning, in algorithmic-based services for medical services and procedures into one of these 3 categories. Number 1, assistive. Number 2, augmentative. And number 3, autonomous. Now, AI as applied to healthcare may differ from AI in other public and private sectors like banking, energy, or transportation. And do note that there is no single product, procedure, or service for which the term AI is sufficient or necessary to describe its intended clinical use or utility. Therefore, the term AI is not defined in the code set. In addition, the term AI is not intended to encompass or constrain the full scope of innovations that are characterized as work done by machines. Now, classification of AI medical services and procedures as assistive, augmentative, and autonomous is based on the clinical procedure or service provided to the patient and the work performed by the machine on behalf of the physician or other qualified healthcare professional, the QHP. So let's get into those definitions that are provided by CPT. So they define assistive as the work performed by the machine for the physician or the other QHP is assistive when the machine detects clinically relevant data without analysis or generated conclusions. This requires physician or other QHP interpretation and report. So that's CPT's definition of assistive. And now for 2024, there's a lot of new green text that we're all used to, right? When the text is in green, it means it's a new addition for that year's CPT manual. And for this year, 2024, there's new green text that applies to the definition of augmentative. So augmentative is the work performed by the machine for the physician or other QHP is augmentative when the machine analyzes and or quantifies data to yield clinically meaningful output. This requires physician or other QHP interpretation and report. Then our definition for autonomous. This is also new in 2024. And CPT defines it as the work performed by the machine for the physician or other QHP is autonomous when the machine automatically interprets data and independently generates clinically meaningful conclusions without concurrent physician or other QHP involvement. Autonomous medical services and procedures, including interrogating and analyzing data. The work of the algorithm may or may not include acquisition, preparation, and or transmission of data. The clinically meaningful conclusion may be a characterization of data or a likelihood of pathophysiology to be used to establish a diagnosis or to implement a therapeutic intervention. Now, there are 3 levels of autonomous AI, medical services and procedures with varying physician or other QHP professional involvement. So CPT goes further and adds this brand new 3 levels of autonomous AI in 2024. So level 1 is for the autonomous AI draws conclusions and offers diagnosis and or management options which are contestable and require physician or other QHP action to implement. And then CPT goes on for level 2. Level 2 is for that autonomous AI draws conclusions and initiates diagnosis and or management options with alert opportunity for override, which may require physician or other QHP action to implement. And finally, the third level that CPT addresses in 2024 for autonomous, level 3 autonomous, is the autonomous AI draws conclusions and initiates management, which requires physician or other QHP initiative to contest. So there we have it, right? We've entered a brave new world here in healthcare. We need to get comfortable with how AI is being used in this space and how that translates in the medical code. Appendix S is just the beginning. And finally, I focus Season 10 Spark on perseverance. I want this 10th season Spark to be filled with our world's thought leaders, writers, artists, philosophers, everyone who inspires the need for perseverance in all we strive to do. So, in this week's inspiring quote in Spark is from Scott Hamilton. Adversity, perseverance, and all these things can shape you. They can give you a value and self-esteem that's priceless. Absolutely true, right? This quote reminds us that the yin and yang of life shapes us. This quote reminds us that our difficulties often help us be even stronger. Those hardships and those shortcomings make us work even harder to find our purpose, to find our success. It is both adversity and perseverance that mold who we eventually become. I'm happy Scott Hamilton's spark still shines on in all of us today. So that wraps up today's episode. And as always, I appreciate you all diving into today with me. If you want more information from me, please go ahead and follow me on LinkedIn. I'll leave links to everything in the show notes below. Now, in my final note today, you know, that's right, it's the day before Thanksgiving, so please, I hope you're all taking the day off tomorrow, making pies, stuffing birds, and watching some classic American football, and find that gratitude. I know I'm thankful for all of you. Now, wish you guys all an amazing and very, very happy week ahead, and a very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you guys so much for listening in on today's episode, and I hope every week with me brings you closer to helping your providers paint a masterpiece. See you next Wednesday.